The film begins through the eyes of a poor man who doesn't even have a single pound in his pocket. He works as a stunt double in dangerous scenes. While on a film shoot, he's acting out a scene where he escapes someone in his car. Suddenly, the car flips over and he dies, but he wakes up. It's Young. He realizes it was just a dream. He starts focusing and feels like the dream is a sign that he shouldn't do the scene. So he calls the director and apologizes. Then he takes the filming car and drives off with it. The director gets very upset and curses him, saying, "I hope the car flips with you in it." And from your mouth to God's ears, the car actually flips with Young. But he wakes up again and realizes it was another dream. This time, he finds he's gone back in time to a week before the shoot. His wife, Jimn, is standing in front of him. He tells her about the dream and that he's thinking of quitting being a stuntman because he's going to die. But she gets into a fight with him, mocks him. She adds she's tired of him and of the poverty he's making her live in. He grabs her because she's making fun of the scar he got on his face from a school fight a long time ago. Back then, she felt sorry for him and married him. But since then, she's been the one carrying everything, even the rent and the house expenses. Then Jimn keeps yelling at him for fighting with his sister on the anniversary of their mother's death. If he'd been patient with her, he could have gotten some inheritance too. Then their daughter, Hara, wakes up and walks past him. She doesn't even say good morning because he's poor. Hyung gets very upset about the life he's living and goes out for a walk. He calls his sister, who works an office job, and tries to speak nicely to her so she'll give him money. But she immediately hangs up when she hears his voice. As he walks, a bus hits him, and he wakes up again. This time, he finds he's gone a full month back in time, to the day he fought with his sister. He's happy he's still alive. He starts messing with his daughter a little. Jimn tells him to go get ready because his sister is on her way. She tells him to act like he's in a terrible state, so she'll give him money from the inheritance. He gets dressed and receives his cunning sister. He sits by her feet, begging for any amount, even 20 million. But she refuses, saying she won't give him a single penny. She reminds him of the 50 million he wasted on himself and didn't even check on her back then. Hyung fights with her, pulls her hair, and kicks her out. Later, he meets his friend Song at the restaurant where he works and tells him, "I feel strange, like I'll die in a month, but when I die, I wake up again and find I've gone back in time." His friend finds it weird and doesn't take it seriously. They call their other friend, Bong, to hang out. They tempt him, saying there's a really beautiful girl at the restaurant. As soon as Bong hears this, he rushes over. But it turns out they're playing a prank on him because they know he loves girls. Later, they watch TV and see a guy from their high school, now a famous celebrity with lots of money, even though he used to be a nobody back then. Song says, "I wish I had stuck close to him in school. I could have been his buddy now." Hyung asks them, "If you could go back in time, what year would you choose?" Song says 2010, so he could tell his dad to buy new land, or maybe buy lottery tickets or Bitcoin. Bong says he wants to go back to his youth to flirt with girls freely and lose some weight. But Hyung wishes to go back to high school days to fix many things that happened. He leaves them and, on his way, meets an old man. He recognizes him, the same man who once saved him from an accident. The old man sells him talismans, claiming they will change his life. Hyung is confused, but buys them because they're cheap. The man explains the talismans save him from death and send him back in time. He'll remember what happened before, but not always. He's already gone back 3 times, with 2 chances left. Hyung asks, "Can I kill myself to return to high school?" But the man says, "No. Suicide won't work. You have to live your current life fully. Death has to come by accident, not by your own hand." Suddenly, the man disappears. Hyung goes home and overhears his daughter fighting with her mom, saying she's the one responsible for everything, while her dad is just a failure. He gets very upset Suddenly, they open the door and find him standing there, but his daughter doesn't care and walks out. The next day, Hyung goes back to the filming site to do dangerous scenes to earn money. There's a scene where the car flips and he gets suspended from a mountain. He refuses, but the director insists, so Hyung does it. During the scene, the rope holding him snaps and he falls, but we notice he's smiling while falling, knowing this will take him back in time. Indeed, he wakes up on a school chair in a student uniform, back in high school. He's so happy he starts running through the streets with joy. He visits his mom's shop, sees her alive and working as a tailor, gets emotional, hugs her, and tells her he missed her. He says he'll work hard to make up for everything. His sister interrupts the moment with her usual fights. Hyung gets annoyed and goes to his old house, where he sees a photo that reminds him of how much he loved wealth. He begins planning to fix his life from scratch. First, he won't fight with his friend Sunbae, the one who gave him the face scar. Second, he won't fall in love with Jimn, because it ruins his life later. Third, he won't act again. Instead, he'll write songs to get rich. The next day, he goes to school and sees his friend Song, who scams classmates by selling them fake Bitcoin papers. Bong arrives on his flashy motorcycle, super popular with the girls at that time. Song sees Bong with a girl he liked and gets jealous. He wants to fight, thinking of her as his own in his mind. Bong says she asked him for a ride. Before things escalate, Hyung steps in and cools things down. They wait outside the school. Hyung sees Song smoking and casually takes the cigarette from him, saying, "Isn't life hard enough already?" Song warns, "Be careful, the teacher might see." Hyung replies, "Why should I be afraid? I'm not doing anything wrong." The teacher actually was behind him the whole time and assumes the cigarette is his. As Hyung tries to explain, Song and Bong disappear. Hyung tries to lighten the mood with the teacher, saying, "Why are you looking so handsome today, sir?" Of course, the teacher doesn't care and punishes Hyung alone by making him crawl back to class. When Hyung enters the classroom and sees his old friends, he's so happy. They go eat on the school rooftop. The guy who delivers the food is the same one who will become a famous star in the future. His name is Suk. Hyung treats him kindly, knowing his future, and asks to be friends. He tells his friends they should all start living right and make money now because the future is going to be tough. They find his new attitude strange. He used to be a troublemaker like them. As they return to class, Jimn appears, but Hyung disappears before she sees him, avoiding any chance to rekindle their relationship and mess up her future. They go back to class and find a group of guys from another class there to fight them. Among them is Sunbae, the one who scarred Hyung's face in the future. There's tension, but Hyung deals with him kindly and leaves with his friends. Later, they all go to Bong's house and check out the computer his father bought him in exchange for going to university and becoming a teacher. Hyung tells him, "Don't do it, don't become a teacher." And of course, we all know why. Then Hyung heads home and at night has dinner with his family. He jokes with his sister and mom. When his dad tries to speak, Hyung shuts him down, saying he never provides for them and keeps all the money for himself. His mom slaps him across the face and tells him to respect his father. Hyung gets upset and goes to his room to sleep. The next day at school, he tells his friend Suk he wants to learn how to write songs. Suk tells him, "My cousin is into that stuff. I'll introduce you." After class, Jimn approaches Hyung and asks, "Why are you ignoring me?" Hyung dodges her again, but on his way out, he runs into Sunbae, who punches him in the face. This triggers a flashback. We learn that in the past, they were fighting and Jimn got pushed. A large sign almost fell on her, but Hyung saved her. That sign had a nail, which caused the scar on his face. That's why she married him in the future, because he saved her. After school, Jimn waits for Hyung and asks if he doesn't love her anymore. He tells her he was only playing with her and doesn't really love her. Of course, that's a lie. He's doing it for her sake, to give her a better future. Later, Hyung goes with Suk to meet his cousin, Hyun. She's sweet and kind to him, even asks him to walk her to her institute. They talk along the way, and she learns he's terrible at music, so she decides to teach him. She even gives him her number. That day, Hyung sees his dad carrying a bag. He follows him and sees he's going to the school. As he continues to follow, he sees Jimn walking with some guys, planning to hang out just to make Hyung jealous and fall for her again. But the boys she's with go into the bathroom and talk about dragging her to one of their homes where no parents are around, planning to assault her. Luckily, Hyung is in the bathroom and hears everything. He beats them all up and storms out to scold Jimn, telling her to be careful who she hangs out with. Then he leaves and later calls Hyun to meet up so she can teach him music. He's relaxed and having fun with her and his friends, including Suk, who he's now added to their group. They're all enjoying good times together. One day, Hyung sees Jimn with her friends and finds himself staring at her. He can't stop thinking about her, but he reminds himself of his decision to stay away so her future doesn't get ruined because of him. In class, he talks to himself about changing his future. Bong hears him and thinks he's crazy, joking that he'll probably turn into a weirdo when he grows up. After class, he goes to see Hyun and plays her some music, but she calls it terrible. Hyung doesn't mind and changes the topic, asking, "What can I do to make two people fall in love?" Hyun thinks he's talking about her, but he's actually trying to set up Jimn with Suk because he believes her life would be better with Suk in the future. Using Hyun's advice, he tells Suk to go to the rooftop and texts Jimn to meet him there. By coincidence, when Jimn arrives and sees Suk, she asks, "Where's Hyung?" Suk replies, "He's not here right now." She says, "Well, pass this message to him," then insults Hyung with a string of curses, thinking he set up this meeting to confess his love to her. That night, Jimn is walking home and feels like someone is following her. When she turns, she sees two people and says sarcastically, "So now you're going to attack me, and Hyung will suddenly appear and save me, right?" Meanwhile, Hyung and Suk are together, discussing the plan. Two of their friends were supposed to follow Jimn just to keep an eye on her for Hyung and report back. But they lost sight of her and say they saw two strangers following her instead. As soon as Hyung hears this, he panics. It turns out the two guys now with her are not Hyung's friends. They're the ones he beat up earlier. They drag her to an isolated place, planning to assault her. Suk arrives just in time, threatens them, and says he'll report them. Shockingly, the guys get scared and run away. Jimn thanks Suk for saving her. Hyung arrives shortly after and scolds Jimn, but she slaps him and his friends. Thinking he was the one who sent those guys to kidnap her, she storms off, leaving them confused. Hyung doesn't understand what's going on. As he walks home, he sees his dad with a woman. When his dad sees him, he runs away, scared Hyung might say something to his mom. But Hyung doesn't care and just goes to sleep. The next day, Hyung goes to school and gives Suk a gift for helping him get together with Jimn, meaning Hyung's plan worked, even by accident. After school, Hyung hangs out with Hyun. Even though he's the one who made the Jimn-Suk relationship happen, he's still sad that Jimn now belongs to someone else. Hyun talks to him and says, "There's always someone better out there for you." But Hyung's not in the mood and ends up arguing with her because she was joking around. She says, "Fine, just pretend I'm your girlfriend then. Happy now." But Hyung gets surprised and says, "Stay away from me, please. I don't love you." At that moment, Hyun is shocked and deeply hurt, and she walks away. Suddenly, a mysterious person appears in front of Hyung and advises him, "Don't mess with the future. Don't break its rules, or everything will fall apart." Then the person disappears immediately. Hyung is confused and returns to school, sitting with his friends on the rooftop. Suk is with them, but now Suk starts to act arrogant, even hiring one of the students to work for him. Bong and Young get annoyed and scold him. telling him not to act like he's better than everyone just because they were nice to him. Then Jimn shows up to return a gift Suk had given her. Hyung takes the opportunity to treat Suk like garbage in front of her, so she'll hate him. Jimn walks away, and Young follows her. He says, "Don't be mad at Hyung," and starts telling her everything. The day those guys tried to attack her, it was Hyung who stood in front of them and made them run away, not Suk, who wouldn't even scare a fly. He says even the way Hyung acted towards Suk now is just to push you away, not because he doesn't care, but because he loves you. Jimn is confused and doesn't know why Hyung is acting like this, but Young is sure that Hyung loves her. Later, Jimn runs into Hyun and greets her, but Jimn doesn't recognize who she is. Hyun looks at her from head to toe and realizes this is the girl Hyung really loves, not me. That night, Hyun meets with Hyung and tells him, "I saw Jimn. I know now she's the girl you love, not me." She leaves him her music notebook and walks away. Just as Hyung is about to run after her, his mother stops him and tells him to take food to his sister. What timing, Mom? Hyung listens to his mom and, on the way, runs into Jimn. He asks her, "Do you really love Suk?" But she confesses to him that she loves him, not Suk, and gives him the script for the school play they're going to perform. Then she leaves. Hyung goes out for a walk and sees a beggar in the street. He spaces out for a moment and says to himself, "I don't want to end up like that guy." The beggar asks him for money. Hyung gives him some, but the man only takes what he actually needs, nothing more. The next day, at school, Hyung's friend Song gets a message from a girl. When they open the message, they find out the girl had written, "Stop staring at me. Your face scares me." Bong laughs non-stop. As they walk in, Hyung sees a poster for the school play he once acted in years ago. Even though acting is his dream, he doesn't show much interest. Later, his friends take him to play soccer. He asks them what they want to do after graduation. Each one shares their dream. Song wants to open a big restaurant and make money. Bong, the troublemaker, says, "I just want to make money and get girls." Then comes the day of the play. Hyung joins the audience to watch, but leaves halfway through. Jimn follows him and asks, "Why didn't you watch until the end? Isn't acting your dream?" He says, "It was getting late, so I left." Jimn teases him, saying, "Better late than never," but he still doesn't care and walks off. Later that night, Hyung sits at home, thinking about his dreams. He pulls out his last magical talisman and steps outside onto the rooftop. He calls his friends and confesses the truth, that he's from the future and needs their help. Of course, none of them believe him. Hyung begs them to push him off the roof so he can go back in time again. They argue, telling him he's crazy. Song says, "You want us to go to jail for you?" Hyung pleads, "If you're real friends, you'll listen to me." Bong yells, "You want to ruin your future just like that?" But Hyung keeps pushing. In the heat of the moment, he shoves Bong, and Hyung ends up falling off the roof, smiling. And yes, he goes back in time again, 1 week before the moment he hit his head, and runs to class. Then Hyung tells Jimin he wants to join the school play. At home, he tears up the paper where he had written song lyrics, deciding instead to rehearse the play with Jimin. Suddenly, the same guy who had scarred Hyung's face back then shows up and says, "Let's finish what we started." Hyung goes down to meet him and offers to become friends instead. But the guy doesn't get it and punches Hyung right in the face. Still, Hyung keeps encouraging him, saying, "You're strong, you're tough," and in every punch, he tries to protect his face from injury. Then one of the gang tries to hit Jimin, and that's when Hyung snaps. A fight breaks out. Hyung starts beating them down, and during the fight, the same old sign that had once scarred his face falls again. Soon after, the boy's mother comes to school. It turns out she's the same woman Hyung had seen his father standing with earlier, and her son had seen them together. Hyung's mom and dad show up at school, apologizing and begging the woman not to get Hyung expelled. Hyung gets angry and yells at them, but his mom tells him to stay outside for now. Hyung goes up to the rooftop. After a while, Jimn comes to comfort him. He breaks down in her arms, crying, saying he didn't do anything wrong. Suk sees them in this moment, Hyung crying in Jimin's arms. And he feels really upset because he had started developing feelings for Jimn. Hyung returns to the principal's office and learns that the woman agreed to drop the issue so he wouldn't get expelled. Suk overhears this and from that moment starts harboring hatred toward Hyung. He decides to take revenge. On the day of the school play, Suk brings food for the drama team, then leaves. When Hyung tries to reconcile with him, Suk brushes him off and walks away. Then he calls Jimn and sends her a message. She comes out to see him, but at that very moment, a group of thugs attacks Suk and beat him up. Suk rushes to the stage and tells Hyung that Jimn was kidnapped and he was beaten, urging him to go help her quickly. Of course, Hyung runs to the place Suk pointed to and gets jumped by a gang. They start brutally beating him, but all Hyung cares about is Jimn. The gang beats him down, and when he asks where Jimn is, they say they don't know. Hyung realizes it was all a setup. Suk had planned this to get Hyung humiliated. He even hits Hyung himself. One of the gang members pulls out a weapon, trying to slash Hyung's face. Meanwhile, one of Hyung's friends had come to bring him food, but learns from other students that Suk took Hyung somewhere after telling him Jimn had been kidnapped. They all run to help him and arrive just in time, stopping the guy before he injures Hyung's face. At the same time, Jimn is trying to call Suk to apologize. She says, "I waited for you, but you never came. The truth is, I love Hyung. I could never love you." She returns to the theater and learns what happened, but she can't go anywhere because the play is about to start. She files a police report and waits for Hyung to show up. Eventually, Hyung's friends defeat the gang and tell Hyung to go chase his dream, the play. He rushes into the hall with his face swollen and bruised. Jimn is shocked and asks, "You're going to act like that?" He replies, "Doesn't matter. What matters is the performance." He puts on his costume and steps on stage. He's nervous, but Jimn pushes him gently and encourages him. Hyung performs the play with confidence, and the audience loves his acting. After the play, he and Jimn return backstage. He tells her, "By the way, I'm going to marry you." Suddenly, Suk barges in, raises a weapon at them, and starts acting like a lunatic. He tells Hyung, "The police are coming now. You'll be arrested. I'll tell them you assaulted me." He just wants revenge in any way he can. Hyung punches Suk, then he grabs Jimn and walks out with her. But Suk follows them. They fight, and it ends with Hyung getting stabbed in the chest by mistake when Suk slashes him. Suk runs away, panicking, denying everything and yelling, "I didn't do anything." Jimn collapses, screaming for help. Students gather around. Hyung, in his final moments, tells Jimn not to worry. He'll come back and love her again. Then he passes out. A moment later, he wakes up. He's gone even further back in time, to when he was a little kid playing with Bong and Song. But this time, he remembers nothing. All he recalls is that they were playing. Years later, we return to the present day. Hyung is acting again, but nothing has changed. His fate is the same. His face is still scarred. His friends' lives haven't changed. Bong is a teacher. Song works at his dad's restaurant. The only one whose life changed was Suk. Now he appears on screen as a criminal. Hyung doesn't remember anything. He returns home, and we find out he married Jimn. He sees his daughter Hara and gives her money for food. She hugs him coldly and walks away. Jimn stares at him lovingly the entire time. He tells her he's got a chance to act again, but isn't sure he'll win the role. Jimn encourages him, saying, "Nothing in life is guaranteed." Hyung goes to the audition and keeps trying to perform the scene, though he's weak at first. The director yells at him, but after many attempts, he nails the scene and finally lands a role in the film. On his way home, he runs into the old man who sold him the talismans. He stops him and asks for another one. The old man says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I have nothing like that." But we discover that Hyung remembers everything. He remembers the talisman, the time travel, and all that happened. The old man is surprised. "How do you still remember all of this?" Hyung says, "Give me another talisman. I still haven't done everything, like getting rich or buying Bitcoin." We flash back to the moment when Hyung begged his friends to push him off the rooftop. Back then, he was holding the talisman and discovered that he had 6 talismans, not 5. That means he still has one more chance to go back in time. Now he wants to use it, but he needs another talisman to be sure. The film ends with Hyung still trying, still chasing his goals through failure after failure.